standard play, getting his gateway up, and then getting his simulator. KiWiKaKi, in my opinion, he favors getting an early sentry out. I noticed that some players get a zealot sentry, a zealot stalker, and some other players like KiWiKaKi get a zealot sentry. And the difference between those two is that the sentry lets you force field your ramp a lot earlier, and so any sort of rush you can sort of negate with that. But as for the zealot sentry, it lets you be a little bit more mobile and sort of poke out at your opponent. As long as he doesn't have concussive shell, you can actually go in, maybe even hit a few marines, and then run away. So Infinity is getting his orbital command center, and he's gonna probably get a tech lab sometime soon. Either that or let's see. So this SC is coming out. I think it might actually be a factory, just because of the gas saved up. Yeah, if you notice, there's like exactly 150 minerals and 100 gas, so he knows the timing really quite well. So only one marine produced, and this is sort of risky if KiWiKaKi produced Zella and then Stalker. But I think that because of his scout, he feels really confident that there's no sort of early rush. So there's no real need to make too many marines or delay that factory at any time at all. This SCV is going to come in, and we'll see if he's going to make a bunker or not. Okay, he's moving his barracks out and making a reactor, so he is going to make a bunker just to feel safe with his only 2 marine defense. And so, yeah, KiWiKaKi is getting his first sentry out, and he also got his second gas really early, just to get that early sentry. So we also see a robotics facility, and so that means he's probably going to get some sort of observer out really fast and just see what his opponent's doing. And for a lot of stronger players, we see a lot of them just do this sort of build, and that's really passive and really gives you a lot of vision on your opponent. Makes you feel really comfortable. Okay, so it's interesting to see this first Hellion come out. We're going to see if it actually goes for any harass. If KiWiKaKi is careful, he can actually force field this and pretty much deny any information. That Hellion can actually just run in and actually just scout out all of KiWiKaKi's base, and even get a couple of probes if KiWiKaKi's not careful. So we see it actually does get up, and let's see how much damage it does. So going straight for the scouting all the tech, he sees robotics facility. He's going for the probes right now, and let's see if he gets any probes. So one probe does go down. Every probe actually is really well worth it. The Hellion's only 100 minerals, so with 2 probe kills, it's already paid off its costs. Okay, so even 4 probes going down, and that actually is really quite worth it. Okay, I even think he got a 5th one there. So the observer's done. It's moving towards Infinity's base, and what he's going to see is this 1-1-1 build. So it's interesting to see that when Infinity is going to attack, or if he's going to actually turtle up. He's getting siege mode, so I'm not sure if you can actually use siege quite effectively in this map. Just if your opponent doesn't take this nat right away. If he does, then you can siege from this location and siege the mineral line. So this observer comes in, it sees a bunker, and it sees the 1-1-1 and the command center going up. So it does look like Infinity is turtling up to do a 2-base push. So this observer sees the command center, and KiWiKaKi actually threw down extra gateways fairly early. I'm not sure if that means he's gonna be really, yeah, it looks like he is. He's getting warp prism, so he's definitely gonna try to get some warp gate shenanigans in play. With 4 gates and that warp gate, and with that warp prism, he can actually warp in zealots in space. And if Infinity's not careful, he can actually lose a lot of workers. But I don't think this will be effective, as he does have a Raven out, a few Marines, and that tank. So this warp prism is going from the right side, and so yeah. So if Infinity's throwing on second barracks, he's actually moving his Raven, and it's interesting to see if you'll see this warp prism, and he actually does. So he sees these 3 zealots warping inside that warp prism, and he's gonna probably deny this warp prism from coming in. Warp prisms only have 140 life, so they're really easy to get sniped out. What's also interesting is to see that KiWiKaKi has these 3 sentries with almost full mana, so they can actually They can actually force field this ramp, preventing Infinity from transferring his SCVs out if he does decide to transfer SCVs out really early. So KiWiKaKi's actually realized that he can't do any damage with that warp prism. He's keeping it over here just to feel just to pressure Infinity. So his base, his Nexus is going to go up really safely, and it's interesting to see when he's going to pull back these sentries. They're really quite weak, and if you're not careful, they definitely can die really easily as well. So Infinity actually got this Viking out, and I think that's a really awesome move. He actually snipes the Warp Prism and makes him drop these 3 Zealots. And it does look like KiWiKaKi is going to pull back. Okay, so okay, the command center is being lifted off. This observer pretty much sees everything. Although it should be careful because he does have a Raven and Viking out, which can snipe it really easily. And yeah, he actually did snipe the... I'm sorry, he did actually force field this ramp. So any SCV transfers are going to be quite delayed. And Infinity is actually doing a really good move, which is patrolling left and right, looking for any observers, and he gets that critical observer. And it really makes KiWiKaKi feel a lot less safer, and he's going to probably use some other sort of scouting to see when he comes out. So he's going to actually turtle up probably now, because he got siege mode, and he doesn't know what KiWiKaKi is doing right now. If we look at KiWiKaKi's base, he's actually tagging the Colossus right away. And it's going to be interesting to see how Infinity is going to react. He probably does scan it by now. I'm sorry if I missed that. But let's see what he's going up in his base. So 3 starports are actually coming up in his base. And he's actually going... this looks like a really heavy Banshee play, which is actually really, really strong against sort of Zealots, Sentries, and Colossus, because they really do almost no anti-air damage. So this Viking and this Raven is going into KiWiKaKi's base. I'm not sure what he's going to do. If he's just going to scout, maybe throw down, see if he can snipe any air, maybe even throw down some auto turrets, which actually can do quite a lot of damage to probes if they're not microed carefully. KiWiKaKi is keeping his main army in the middle of the map, and also has this Zealot in front, and that's really just to indicate whether, just to see, this Zealot's just going to see when Infinity pushes out, and whether or not to retreat this army. Keeping this army here lets you actually avoid Terran scans. So we do see this Raven come in and throw down a turret and see if it gets any kills. So far, just one probe kill, so not really too worth it. Although this Viking is actually getting a lot of damage on that Colossus, but it is warded off by the 2 Stalkers. Meanwhile, like Infinity's base, he's actually producing non-stop Banshees. It's cool to see him actually. He's actually missing some depots, so a little bit sloppy there. But he actually threw down some extra supplies, and it lets him keep his production of units non-stop, which is also which is really awesome as well. He actually threw down another turret here. I don't think he actually did too much damage because that Colossus was standing here. So this Raven escapes and actually got 2 kills. So that's how many kills those auto turrets got. So Infinity still has this really strong tank and marine front, and I'm not sure if it's wise not to make too many, not to make a bunker, because those marines actually do die really quickly to any sort of Colossus attacks. KiWiKaKi is taking out this rock here with 3 Colossus, and he's going to expand here. And I'm not sure if this is actually too wise from KiWiKaKi. He's not in a really comfortable position at the moment. Infinity actually got his orbital a lot earlier than he got his Nexus, although he did get the Nexus and probe transfer earlier. So right now, if we look at the income tab, yeah, we're seeing them almost identical. So Infinity's actually massing up these Banshees here, and I don't think that KiWiKaKi has any clue of that. If he does, then definitely he should be getting Stalkers, maybe even some Phoenixes, just because those Colossus are kind of useless against this sort of composition of heavy Banshee play. So he's actually trying to get some SCV kills, and he does get quite a few. He gets he gets about 12 kills, so definitely gonna hurt Infinity's income quite a bit. So we're seeing a lot of barracks going up now, and this is pretty much the transition into mid game. We're gonna see is Banshees with Marauders, with tanks and Marines, and it's definitely an awesome mix. So we're seeing that Infinity's actually mining out his main, and so he's transferring some SCVs over to his NAT, which is actually a really good move. These Banshees are gonna probably, I think he probably scanned the 3rd base, and he's gonna move in and now and see if he can get that Nexus down, or even get a lot of probes. So actually KiWiKaKi doesn't see this at all, so this might actually hurt KiWiKaKi quite a bit. Okay, so now that KiWiKaKi's pulled everything back, I'm not sure if his composition of pure Zealot Sentry is going to do too much against this. It looks like the Nexus will go down, and Infinity's probably going to pull back. There's no reason to hang out there and get any kills if you don't need to. Oh, it does actually look like he's going to try and engage his army. I don't think this is actually the best decision, although he has some point defense drones, which help his Banshees to get a few more kills. But ultimately, I don't think that was quite the right decision there. definitely getting that Nexus and moving back will be a really great move already. So Marauder's coming out. There's no upgrades being done on any of the units, but that probably doesn't matter at this point in time. So these Marines are sticking out, and I think they're just for safety reasons, I guess. I don't think they're actually needed there, but I don't think it really matters. Okay, so he's actually massing up quite a bit of Banshees, and at this point in time, we're gonna see KiWiKaKi probably try to get Blink, and he's actually throwing down 2 Stargates to counter those Banshees, which is actually a really smart move. But he's gonna be at a disadvantage already, making this many Colossi, using them against this really heavy air and tank army, which is actually not too effective. The Colossus aren't too effective against. And we're gonna see Infinity try to push slowly towards this middle. If he does lose those Colossus, and he probably will eventually, because I don't think there's enough anti-air to kill all those Banshees. So he's gonna move over here and try to siege this Nat, which I talked about earlier, and probably get a lot of probe kills. And KiWiKaKi's gonna move in here. Ooh, he's actually using hallucinated zealots. I'm not sure how useful those are, but it's quite cool to see. I guess those sentries aren't gonna be too useful with force fields. I guess they should have actually force fielded that army from moving back there, although it's not quite a big deal. So as we can see, there's not enough anti-air, and these Banshees actually go through pretty much rape everything. I'm not sure why he's moving his Colossus in that direction, getting shot by pretty much everything. Should have definitely taken out these 3 tanks with him first. So he's going to be losing a lot of probes just because he didn't actually target fire those tanks. So he does get those Banshees out. The Phoenix is out, and there's no anti-air to kill it, but yeah, it does look like Infinity has Cloak, and there's no Observer in sight. I'm sure he has one close by, but oh, there it is. So we're gonna see these Banshees actually roll over everything that KiWiKaKi has in him, just because he has a really big lack of anti-air. He only has 1 Phoenix out to deal with all of this, and it's really not going to be too effective. Infinity's actually throwing down a missile turret, and if that snipes the Observer, and it also can deal with that pesky Phoenix. So two Phoenixes are out, and I don't think that's quite enough. I'm not sure why he's not actually making more. So okay, so this third actually went up during all that heat, and but there's only 3 cannons here, and I don't think KiWiKaKi still has the funds to make a good anti-air army. So we're gonna see this third base probably be taken out. And at this point in time, it looks like KiWiKaKi's at a really big loss, and he should definitely. I don't think he can do anything come back this time. Those tanks here have killed so many probes. They killed. Oh my god, each one got 11 probes each, and that's pretty much all of KiWiKaKi's economy just gone there. Although Infinity is actually not using his, not making enough anti-air, and just losing these Banshees, he should have pulled back to this missile turret and Marine army. Although at this point in time, it doesn't really matter because Infinity probably has the game. He's also taking down his third base and making it into a planetary. It's a really good decision to make it into a planetary, just because there's no real need to get any more orbos at this stage. So KiWiKaKi's army is pretty much gone right now. There's 1 Colossus, 1 Stalker, and 3 Phoenixes, versus pretty much all of this. I probably can't even count all of those. Okay, so it looks like KiWiKaKi does actually have few zealots in his main, but I really doubt at this point that it can really do anything. So it looks like a GG. And Infinity's actually moving around the map and checking if KiWiKaKi has any extra bases, which is also really quite intelligent. There's 2 zealots and Stalker coming in to try to harass this probe line, this SCV line. Really can't do anything. So he actually, okay, this little force here attacking this third was actually really small. I think that he hoped to get KiWiKaKi out of position and try to snipe out the Nexus, but he did have a cannon up and his army not too far away. But in the meantime, Infinity's actually taking advantage of this shift in army movement and moving into KiWiKaKi's main. So we're gonna see probably a final engagement and the GG coming out pretty soon. Infinity's actually taking his gold base. So just to highlight the key things that KiWiKaKi misplayed was that he didn't get enough anti-air, and I think he assumed that he was going to do a pure bio build with just tanks and marines. And it was really quite poor decision to scale Colossus. If you actually went with Storm, it probably would have been a lot more effective. And if he actually got those Phoenixes out preemptively against those, then he definitely would have been quite okay. But unfortunately, it's really strong play just for Infinity to make those decisions and going for those Banshees. and I hope you enjoy his commentary.